The selfish giant, Oscar Wilde. In a faraway land, there stood a beautiful garden, filled with soft green grass, blossoms of every color, and trees that bore silver fruit. Children would come there every afternoon, laughing, playing, and chasing one another beneath the sunlight. But one day everything changed, for the garden belonged to a giant who had been away for 7 long years, visiting his friend, the Cornish ogre. When he returned and saw the children playing in his garden, his face turned red with anger. "What are you doing here?" he roared. "This is my garden. I will not allow anyone else to play here." He built a high wall around it and put up a sign that read, "Trespassers will be prosecuted." The poor children had nowhere else to go. They wandered around the tall wall, remembering the joy they once felt within. Spring came to every garden in the land, but not to the giant's. Within his walls it was always winter. The birds did not sing, the flowers forgot to bloom, and the trees stood bare, as if mourning. Only the snow and the frost danced there, and they were delighted to stay forever. The giant could not understand why his garden was so cold and lifeless. But one morning, something miraculous happened. He woke to the sound of sweet birdsong. Looking out, he saw, through a little hole in the wall, that some children had crept in and were sitting in the branches of the trees. Everywhere they sat, spring returned. The trees blossomed, flowers bloomed, and laughter filled the air once more. Then the giant saw in one corner a small boy, too tiny to climb up the tree. The child was crying bitterly, stretching his arms toward the branches. A deep tenderness filled the giant's heart. He realized how selfish he had been. He went outside, lifted the child gently into the tree, and the tree burst into blossom instantly. The boy smiled and kissed the giant on his cheek. From that day, the giant broke down the wall. He invited all the children to play freely in his garden, and spring returned forever. But the little boy, the one who kissed him, never came back. The giant missed him terribly. Years passed. The giant grew old and weak, and he would sit in his chair watching the children play, smiling softly. One winter morning he looked out and saw the tree once more covered in white blossoms, its branches golden, and beneath it stood the little boy. The giant ran to him, joy overflowing in his heart. But when he came closer, he saw wounds on the boy's hands and feet. "Who hurt you, my child?" cried the giant. The boy smiled and said, "These are the wounds of love." "You let me play once in your garden," said the boy. "Today you shall come with me to my garden, the garden of paradise." Later that afternoon, the children found the giant lying beneath the tree, covered with white blossoms. He had passed away peacefully, and his heart was at last full of love. For it is only by opening our hearts to others that spring can ever return to our souls.